Cyclone Fina set to batter Darwin tomorrow and currently intensify. Latest on this developing cyclone, which has substantially intensified over the last few hours this evening. Cyclone Fina, now a Category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, high-end Category 2 on the Australian scale, 11.2 degrees south, 134.2 degrees east. Here it is displayed on the map right now, moving south-southwest at 5 miles per hour or 8 kilometers per hour, with sustained winds of 75 miles per hour, which is near 120 kilometers per hour, and an estimated central pressure of 980 millibars. Latest as of 9 p.m. as Australian Central Standard Time, this November 21st. Misspoke before, 132.4 degrees east is the current longitude, with those wind fields extending out up to 85 nautical miles on the southeastern side, around 140 kilometers. It is currently 28 kilometers from Minjalang on Croker Island, 91 from Melville Island, 125 from Warui, which is under a cyclone warning as well, 169 from Jabiru, and 211 from Darwin, which has also been placed under a cyclone warning. A cyclone watch is in effect further south in Wadeye and a little bit further south towards the border between Northern Territory and Western Australia, but not quite there yet. Well, this storm will continue towards the southwest, and now we are more concerned about damaging winds. With this intensification, we expect further intensification on the way, with the city of Darwin poised for receiving its strongest impact since Cyclone Tracy, although not as strong. The storm will probably be a Category 3 when it passes by, although there is a small chance it will be stronger. Sustained winds of up to 160 km per hour are possible in the coastal areas near the storm's passage, and flash flooding still on the table, with rainfall of up to 250 millimeters in places. This storm will remain very small, so it's going to have a concentrated impact wherever it goes, so small differences in the track forecast could make a big difference. Later on in that forecast period, the storm's track becomes less certain, although it does look like it will sink into the Kimberly over the early part of next week and dissipate. But in the immediate future, the storm will be passing very close to Melville Island and obviously Darwin. Currently 75 mile per hour winds is what we're giving it right now. As mentioned before, Bureau of Meteorology just a tad bit lower, and ADT estimates satellite also showing a little bit lower right now, although radar is looking impressive. However, good to see a fair amount of confidence there in the maximum sustained winds. Here's the forecast cone from the Bureau of Meteorology. They're expecting the storm to retain Category 2 Australian scale as it passes along the southern coast of Melville Island and just north of Darwin, intensifying into a Category 3 by the time we get to Tuesday as it continues westwards. JTWC have a more land-based forecast a little bit further south there towards the end of that forecast period, with the storm dissipating as mentioned over the Kimberly. The storm will pass very close to Darwin. Whether it makes landfall there or not is still up in the air. Here's the GFS model run showing what we're expecting from that, pretty much in line at first with the JTWC forecast cone, and then it moves a little bit further northwards than what they're expecting, hugging the coast rather than moving inland. Either way, it still dissipates though. Watch again that period of time there as the storm passes pretty much over Darwin and then continues southwestwards. Two distinct peaks there as well at Category 1 Saffir-Simpson status. That would be indicated by the yellows. In the reflectivity view here, the simulated radar over the next few days, still expecting that the heaviest rainfall will be displaced to the southern side, the southern semicircle of this storm, pretty much as you would expect though for this region, and then the rainfall really tapering off as the storm dies off along the coast of Western Australia, although still a few areas will receive significant precipitation. Certainly in the short term though, it is going to be all that region of the Northern Territory along the coast there that's going to be significantly impacted by rainfall. Once again, that's the precipitation. Also looking at total accumulated precipitation here, the east coast of Melville Island will probably receive the most amount of rain from this storm. Of course, the storm is making landfall on the Cobourg Peninsula right now as well, so there could be some elevated amounts of rain there, up to 500 millimeters. Also, for the storm's eventual final landfall possibly in the Kimberly, it could be near that number as well in that area. And also around the Darwin area, we're expecting maybe 250 millimeters of rainfall, and also in Jabiru, they could get some elevated amounts of rainfall there from the storm's eastern bands. Sea surface temperatures remain very warm ahead of Cyclone Fina right now. These are conservative numbers because this measures the air temperature above the water. In fact, those temperatures near the coast there could be reaching 32 degrees Celsius. And around 29 to 30 degrees at this moment, only getting warmer. Land interaction will be what stops this storm from getting much stronger, although still it could intensify a fair deal. Wind shear will also have a part to play in that because it has been affecting the storm in the last few days, and it was blowing up tufts of convection overnight during the earlier part of today, I should say, but now that we're into the overnight hours, it looks like that convection is being a lot better sustained, as you can see on this imagery. Still very high cloud tops as well, and now infiltrating over some land areas. Darwin getting some scattered thunderstorms as well from the storm underneath that convection from one of the storm's bands. Here's latest radar of the storm approaching land in the last few hours. It's probably just made landfall by the time of broadcast, and that would be on the Cobourg Peninsula, just around 25 kilometers to the west of Croker Island. Storm movement there on that radar was nearly due south as a matter of fact, but we do believe there will be an overall slightly westward element, making it a south-southwesterly movement. Latest imagery from the Force 13 website, and I'm happy to say that all Force 13 website satellite imagery is currently working. Some imagery has been down for about 2 months. However, the storm floaters have always been working, and this is what we're looking at on those right now, throwing up huge amounts of convection over the center of the storm and on its northern side, well into the minus 90s as a matter of fact, and maybe even one or two spots approaching minus 100 degrees Celsius there, partly because of wind shear. Certainly the storm's appearance doesn't look fantastic, and this is radar imagery though, which looks a lot better for the storm in my opinion, although latest frames are showing that that eye feature that was just about to pop out properly may just be shriveling up again as the storm makes landfall. Looking at a very wide shot of the Australian region here on glorious blue marble imagery, you can see just how small the storm is in comparison with Australia and in the grand scheme of things in the basin. However, this storm will obviously be packing a punch to localized areas in these Northern Territory communities, and of course for the city of Darwin. It does appear that they're going to get at least storm force winds, possibly hurricane force winds. I would expect that is a distinct possibility for those in Darwin, which would be the first time hurricane force winds have been felt there since Cyclone Tracy in 1974. Latest imagery there as well, showing just how it's breaking that particular satellite imagery enhancement too, with just how high those cloud tops have been on RAM imagery. Looking around the world, of course Cyclone Fina is the hot topic right now. The Atlantic and Eastern Pacific are pretty dead, but there are two moderate chance areas of interest that we're now looking at. Bay of Bengal, 40% for an area of interest there near the Malay Peninsula, and a 40% chance for the Philippines over the next few days as well.